Indeed. Okay, it looks like that's
The board.
we don't see Mr. Carr yet, so but other than that, I think we have everyone.
Okay, I guess I'd like to make a couple of announcements. I'd like to inform everyone that Sean Driscoll, the authority's communications director, is making an audio and video recording of today's meeting. Is there anyone else making an audio recording of today's meeting? If so, please identify yourself. If you're joining virtually, please press the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard, or if you are joining by phone, by pressing *9 on your keypad. And when you are recognized, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Okay.
Unky from the MB Times.
Louisa,
the Vineyard.
thank you. And Chase,
Chase Chabot, representing 41 North Offshore.
thank you.
Any
That's all
other?
I see. No. You're good, Mr. Mayor. Yep, you're all set.
Okay, great. I'd like to make a statement concerning remote participation pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. As amended, Port Council members are participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendances today would be unreasonably difficult. All Port Council members in attendance and all members participating in the meeting by the Zoom video conferencing app will be clearly audible to each other. As a result of members' remote participation in this meeting, any and all votes taken by the members today shall be by roll call vote. So why don't we move to the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if I may have a moment first.
Please do. Hello, Gordon. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. Apologies.
Unfortunately, we need to begin today's Port Council meeting on a somber note. I'm saddened to report that Frank Resendez, who served as the town of Fairhaven's representative to the Port Council for 11 years, passed away this past Friday at the age of 91. Frank was appointed to the Port Council in December of 2007 and represented Fairhaven ably and fully for 11 plus years. A graduate of Mass Maritime Academy with a degree in marine engineering, Frank lent us his valuable expertise on several important projects. He never forgot his core responsibility to keep the needs of Fairhaven front and center in everything that the authority did with its vessel repair facility. More importantly, he was a kind man whose friendship was appreciated by his fellow Port Council members and by many of the authority staff. Our condolences are extended to the entire Resendez family, including his wife of 67 years, Mildred, and his children, Anne, Kathleen, Nancy, and Michael. And with that, I ask you to join me in a moment of silence in Frank's memory. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Bob. I have fond memories of Frank, and think back to my early days, which we were just talking before the meeting was 10 years ago. Hard to believe. I still feel like a newbie, but between Frank and people like Nat, really helped me get my footing on the Port Council, and I really appreciate that.
And I just, although I didn't know Frank personally, I know he had a great impact on the Steamship Authority, and I will endeavor to do his work as well as he was able to do. So my condolences to the family.
2007.
Thanks for those thoughts, everybody. Appreciate it. Bob, why don't we start with the management report?
Do you want to do the minutes first, or?
Oh, yeah, apologies. Do I hear a motion? I assume everybody's had a chance to read the minutes. They were excellent, by the way. And do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the April meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Let's start with Joe.
Okay, I can only approve so far as that I was there. I had to leave around 10, 10:15, because I was in Boston with a medical appointment.
Is that a
I
half
don't
of
know.
an approval?
Half of an approval. But I
Okay.
think Mark may have the other half, I think.
I think I do.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Nat,
Aye.
John,
Cahill, aye.
Gordon,
Aye.
thank you. Bob, back to you.
I'm sorry, Rob, did you vote?
Unir, aye.
Thank you. All right, first off, we have an update on the progress for the MV Aquinnah and MV Barnstable. Their conversions down at the in Alabama, so Sean's bringing Mark over.
Hey, Mark.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Mark.
From Mobile starting, you can feel the change of season down here. So we're in the water now. If we could get to the next slide. And this is a picture of the Barnstable and Aquinnah just prior to launching onto the barge going over to Austell Dry Dock across the way for undocking. Next slide. She's on the SPMTs right now, the Barnstable going on to the barge. Next slide. And this is the Barnstable pier side back at the shipyard where she's currently under works. Next slide. And same thing with the Aquinnah. She got launched the same way, and there's a picture of her going on to coming off the barge, getting ready to undock over at Austell. Next slide. There's just some pictures. We've got the console. It's probably about 90%, 80 to 90% complete. This is a new console that we've put in to increase visibility for our service needs. As far as a lot of small craft, you have good visibility. Next slide. There's a picture of the new bulwarks, which are completely installed on both vessels. These are 8 foot and they have a 3-inch cap at the top. Next slide. This is a picture. If some of the people are familiar with the Woods Hole, we have the same type of gate that we'll have on the Woods Hole, where it'll be one part will be stationary, the other will be on rollers, so that I'll be able to quickly open, close, and the gates. Next slide. It's just a completion. What looks a little bit different here is we have a slight slope at the back end of the bridge or the stern section, so it looks a little bit different, but it's to get us to match up with our transfer bridges ashore. Next slide. I think this is a video time lapse. Bob, I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah.
These the SPMTs loading onto the barge, the MV Barnstable. This actually probably took about an hour. It's not a big day calendar event. They go actually pretty quick. They go about 2 miles an hour, which is quite amazing. And they deballast at the same time. So it's kind of an interesting time-lapse photo.
That's what Mark was attempting to show last month at the Port Council meeting, that we had some technical difficulties doing so.
Yeah. Okay. So we have is where we are financially on it. We have contract values of each vessel at $705 million. We have approximately $623,000 in change orders that will be going up reporting as at the end of the project. And that brings us to a grand total of $27 million of both the projects. Any questions?
Any questions of the Port Council?
Yeah, let Joe go first.
Joe, you're on mute.
Muted.
Rob.
Joe, you're on mute.
Joe, you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. The question I have is that for the 2 completed boats and the purchase of the 3 boats, it's 55,600,000 and some odd thousand.
Yeah, there's a variance in here because we're showing the shipyard costs only. Bob,
Okay.
you might be able to, you might have some other numbers on this spreadsheet. But
So if I'm correct in understanding, that doesn't include the refitting of the monomoy. That's going to be extra money.
that's correct.
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
So right now, for the purchase of the 3 vessels and the conversion of the first 2 of those, we're sitting just about $49 million combined. And then we've been in discussions with Alabama Shipyard, and we expect a proposal from them shortly on the conversion package for the monomoy. And we'll be bringing that forward once we received it, so.
Thank you, Bob.
Matt, did you have a
Yeah,
question?
just want to say thank you to Mark A on this project and all the, diligence that's gone into it. Just want to ask about those rails in the back. We got stainless inserts in the deck like the Woods Hole has now?
That is correct. We, quite frankly, we copied the exact insert into it, and we've actually upgraded a lot of the actual gate itself is stainless rather than
Nice. So everything's like interchangeable, which is fantastic. And then I like this 8 feet bulwark thing for water spraying on our route. I don't know how high the gate head and the Katama are, but 8 is pretty good.
Yeah, the Sanctity is at 8. The other boats are slightly less, but I think we'll have good coverage and keeping spray off the vessel off our passenger vehicles.
Yeah, that's a big thing over here, especially east wind and just the way the water. I can't explain how that happens, but there's some trips that it happens and depends. So the other thing is the tie downs. I think I might have asked you this a couple months ago. Is that all set?
Yes, it is. We have tie downs on all the lanes that we have in there. That was part of the original contract.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Other questions? Mark, I was curious, can you describe the process from now until delivery here?
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do still. As you know, we took the 24-foot mid-body section out, and we are in the process of reinstalling all the electrical lines, and we're probably at a 60% in that time period. So everyone here is very interested in getting that done so we can start starting all of our equipment. Now, having said that, we did start all the equipment prior to going on to the dry dock a year ago. So we feel pretty confident on that. A lot of work to do still. Right now, I'm going to say we got a lot of blasting and coating to do on the interior, on the deck. It's all planned. We're looking at wrapping up the end of the month, all the works, and then we have stability test. We have to do our testing for stability, get our stability letter from the Coast Guard and sea trials. So a lot of work to do still, Rob.
So any sort of prognostication on the schedule then?
I see that we're drifting. I would say in 2 weeks I should have a better feel for this. But right now we're looking at the end of May as the target date for completion.
Okay.
I think we're also looking at the distinct possibility that will be, that gets past that, which, Mark obviously is fighting to keep that date in mind, but, if we don't make that date, then we'll be looking to be hiring a crew from down south to bring the vessel up, sometime in June.
Now, I'd like to say further that they are concentrating on the Barnstable, and the Aquinnah is they're going to finish that once they get the Barnstable, because we need the Barnstable for the summer. The Aquinnah has always been destined to be brought up in September, so I just want to make that clear.
Is there any particular, I'm not going to call it a drop dead date, but a date that you think is really critical relative to summer operations? And I guess I put it in the context of this, that you're completing a big, important, complex project, and obviously you want to have it done as well as possible. So, this is a 30-year decision that has been made, and, I wouldn't, you want to get out of the yard ready, not have the timeline be the sole driver at this
I think there's two elements in that, Rob, and the other is the training element, which, as everyone knows, we're challenged on the amount of licensed deck officers and engineers. And we have to get the vessels up and have proper training, or, we still have the other vessels available. So that's a decision that we have to look very closely at.
Yeah.
Understand.
Okay, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
So Rob, if I may, Rob, also just kind of follow up on that, is that the schedule that was put out into the system had included the gay head Katama in the service. So we hadn't built in the new vessels, replacing those as of yet. So reservation wise, we're using the basis of the gay head Katama. So.
Okay, I think that's smart. Any other questions on this topic?
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Bob, back to you.
All right, so next up, we have an update on the Vineyard Haven Slip 2 repairs. So Sean has a slideshow, and I think another Mark will take over this one.
Okay, next slide. So as you can see here, assembling the new finger pier and the concrete formwork that was put on. Next slide. We have two photos of construction of the concrete formwork. Next slide. We did the pour of the concrete formwork last week. Next slide. And the financials right now, we're at 600, the grand total is 625, 764. We had change orders of 69,240. That was to do some work from the barge for the barge crane instead of from land-based. That's a little off because we would have had the crane built into that, but as far as the contract, that was an add-on, but we were looking at the crane cost of that as well. I spoke yesterday and heard from our project manager, AJ, last night. They're planning to go back out tomorrow. They're on track for stripping the forms and installing the transfer bridge on schedule. So we should be good to go. We're going to hear from them on the 14th before we get into the next schedule. Any questions?
Any questions?
So they poured the forms last Thursday, so tomorrow will be a week that they think that's concrete's cured.
Okay. Thank you for providing the financials on that project. It's great to see the financials for the shoreside projects, just like we see them for the vessels. So it's helpful.
Yeah, and I think I'll pull up the actual what we were looking at when we were gonna do the pick and the work from shoreside with the crane. I think there's about a $6,000 differential. So you see that there's a $69,000 change order for the project, that's based on what we're having coast lifted versus total project cost. So I'll get that updated.
Thank you.
Yeah, once we originally were planning on having a separate, service, a crane service come over, lift the transfer bridge and take the gallows down, but realized that the weight of the crane, the distance for the lift, we were concerned about that, the pier, being able to support that weight, and that's why it was changed to be a change order with Coastal for them to do it on the barge.
Understand. Thank you.
All right, so next, there's no other questions on that. We'll have an update on the Woods Hole Terminal reconstruction project. So as you know, Bill Cludia has retired and Sean Mulcahy will be giving the presentation when Sean brings him over. Sean, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Morning, everyone. It's nice to meet all the Port Council members finally.
Hello, Sean.
We started the geothermal wells April 15th on Patriots Day. Next slide, please. This is just an aerial shot from a drone taken beginning of last week. Next slide, please. This is showing the 27 wells that we have to drill down in the vehicle staging area. We've got the first 2 rows towards the top completed as of today. There's 13 wells. We will be moving over to lane 1 and 2 of the vehicle staging area end of today, tomorrow morning, continue those 7, and then hopefully get those done and move to the next 7. Next slide, please. Once we finish all those, we have to go up to the terminal building area, the existing area we're using for staging for the construction. There's 12 more wells that we have to do up there. Next slide, please. Another aerial shot of the area of the well drilling. You'll see that we have 2 rigs simultaneously drilling. The smaller things you can't really see, but they're called mudslayers. They take care of the spoil and insert the slurry into the hole so that have some form of it's there to prevent them not to collapse. But we've been having problems with that. We've been getting down 100 feet. There's a layer of thick gravel, and once we remove the drill rods, it's been collapsing. So we've had to go down and clean out several times. Next slide, please. This is a close-up shot of one of the rigs, just drilling on one of the holes. I think he was down almost to the bottom of each well is down 255 feet. Next slide, please. We also have completed driving 11 30-foot H piles for the SOE wall, supportive excavation. So when we start excavation for the utility building, that the boulder wall behind this wall will be supported. Next slide, please. These are the financials. We've had one change order due to the fact that we had to move the building 14 feet, so it's a redesign of a few of the like septic line, utility lines, and things like that. And it's the design and engineering fee, which was $89,890. So it brings the total to $32,224,421. Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Sean. Any questions from the Port Council? I have a couple, if you don't mind. Just these are kind of curiosity questions. Have you run into any of the same boulders that you ran into offshore in the well drilling?
We have not. like I said, there's a layer down about 100 feet that's really gravelly and hard, and sand above is compacted.
Mhm.
They've been having a hard time getting through it, but just taking a little longer time than usual than we anticipated.
Okay. And what's magic about the 255-foot target depth?
The geothermal loops have to be a certain amount of footage to get the thermal conductivity for all the systems within the building. So the 27 loops, the certain footage is required for the conductivity.
Okay. Other questions from anybody?
Sean, that geothermal, I'm the new guy, right? So I'm playing a little catch up. That geothermal project looks really impressive. What piece of the budget is that? And you may have done this in previous meetings when I wasn't here. Is there an estimate of the savings that geothermal project's gonna generate for the authority?
The upfront costs for geothermal, for any project geothermal, is significantly more, but in the long run, I'm not sure what the savings is, but I think 10 to 15 years, you'll start seeing savings. The well drilling in itself is about $900,000.
No, but it's also one of those things where, you know, the more efforts, the more people that do geothermal, the more familiar people get with it, the more drillers get good at it, all of those sorts of things, right?
Right.
So the fact that the authority is doing this, I think, is really important.
Yeah, it's a good system. I've done 10 to 12 residential wells.
Right.
This is my first major 2739 well field project, but the efficiency of a normal furnace is 96%. They're saying statistically 400 to 500% efficient geothermal is, so it's a good way to go. I think it's has a good future.
So if I may, Mr. Carr, so, you know, part of this whole project is about $2.4 million for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning element of it. With the geothermal and the solar that's on top of the terminal building, we do expect to be a net zero energy facility once it's all done. So LEED certified buildings. And there was a payback period on the geothermal. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, we expect to have a savings. I don't recall off the top of my head. I think it's somewhere in the area of about 20 years. But I can get that information and get it back and get it out to the Port Council at next month's meeting.
Yeah, it sounds like a great project. So
Okay, if nothing further, thanks, Sean.
Thank you, and nice meeting everyone.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Bob, back to
All
you.
right. So next, staff wanted to provide you a brief update on the status of the information technologies transformation project. So I'll ask Tom Innes, who's here with us from Gibbs, to provide a quick update.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for giving us a few minutes. Just wanted to touch base as we've continued with the planning process. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, great. I tend not to be very quiet. All right, so overall, we've had really great engagement in the planning process, both working on the governance model and then also planning for the replacement of the reservation system. We have introduced on the governance side a model and now refining that and working through with the leadership team. On the reservation side, we've continued with our proposed approach of really starting from an operations perspective, given all of the existing systems and kind of the piling on of subsystems. We really wanted to start with operations and policy. So everyone has been, really welcoming and supportive. We've had an opportunity to visit the terminals, get to a further understanding of how the local, local conditions impact the functionality of the system. And then also spending time with the folks in, especially in Mashpee, to understand, both the customer service support and then also the challenges that the trucks department faces. So have been working on documenting all of that, and then simultaneously have gone through a market deep dive and looking at the different vendors. So we're currently wrapping up the market analysis to be delivered this month. So on the next slide, we were able to have demos from 6 different vendors, and 2 that we had also put on the list weren't able to talk to, but we feel like we got a pretty good capture of what the existing market looks like, and again had participation from a lot of the folks across the staff and leadership to get a look at what the market is offering. We were pleasantly surprised with what we've seen so far in terms of it's a mix of new and established vendors, and the features and functionality look promising in terms of what we're putting together in terms of thinking about what's going to need to go into the RFR. So we're in the process of we're about to, sort of shift from looking at the deeper dive into current state, and then start to put together the actual requirements and starting to itemize those and what the new system will need to have. As part of that, so we've been talking with operations, with finance, with the existing IT, and all of those conversations have also allowed us to then start thinking about some of the planning that's going to have to go into the RFR development, of looking at things like how we're going to do longitudinal reporting, going from an old system to a new system, and also the vendors have given us some ideas of what the sort of infrastructure and connectivity is going to need to start looking like in order to move to the new system. Because how these systems are put together is a little bit different than the existing system. Any questions or comments?
There was actually, the list wasn't complete. It was, Rocket Res wasn't on the list.
Yeah, we did look at Rocket Res. We hadn't included Rocket Res because we had done that demo previously. So, but yes, yeah. We can add them.
Yeah, just looking at what's availability, we're trying to cover as much as the market as possible. So.
Any questions from the Port Council? John?
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Tom, question for you. Are you involved with the improving communications through text messaging and emailing that we've been working on? Is your group involved with that process?
So we're not directly involved. We're more tangentially involved as looking at how that's being thought through, and then looking at how that's being rethought, and that'll need to go into the requirements of the new system. So is that, we understand that in a planning process like this, especially since it's it's many months, that there's going to be some changes that need to happen while we're in the midst of planning, that things don't just pause. And so we've been more tracking it in terms of what are the implications for the RFR. And again, this, you know, at some point we'll have, or at many points, we'll have this, this challenge of what are we going to ask for to have in a, you know, a single comprehensive system from a single vendor versus where do we have, you know, where do we benefit from having a few different vendors, a few different systems, and keeping some of that integration that exists today.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Just one from me. I note the cost model sounds like in July-ish or some time frame like that. Is there a kind of a high level budget in mind at the moment?
Not currently. We're still working through what are the cost implications. We've gotten a few numbers from the existing vendors, and then we'll also need to add on to that, thinking through what's it going to mean in terms of costs within that may not just be the vendor costs. So what that looks like in terms of, you know, changes to hardware, again, changes to the infrastructure, changes to the reporting environment, some estimates in terms of, you know, what's it going to take to integrate with the financial system. So trying to map all of those pieces out.
Okay, I mean, clearly we're going to learn something after the bid process, and it needs to be inside of our financial model for the overall organization. So certainly be great to have a sense of scale so that we can sort of react to when we do get numbers as to whether we think that they're in the, you know, the affordable range or not. Seems like we're combining a little bit sort of feasibility with a bid process, and you know, the feasibility steps usually help you get to a framework that gives you a sense of scale. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and part of what we'll want to include in the financial cost is looking at what does the cost of implementation, the cost of change, the cost of, you know, the time cost to the existing IT team, does it need to be augmented? You know, all of those pieces that aren't just the cost of the reservation system, aren't just the vendor cost. So the vendor cost ultimately will be some kind of range, because we don't know, because that's why we're doing the RFR. And then the other costs will need to come up with some assumptions around what we think it'll take and how long.
Yep, I get that. I'm just trying to get a sense of 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 100 million.
It's not cheap.
How many digits?
Not gonna be cheap, I'll tell you that. So, the different vendors that we've been dealing with already, they have different pricing models, structures and things like that. So they'll be premature to be, you know, at this point, which direction this will be going in. But
Yeah, no, I get that. And I do appreciate the fact that it's not just vendor costs. I think that's a really important point. And, you know, there's a lot of other pieces to this total project. So thanks for that. Any other questions? Thanks for the update.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks for your time.
all right, well, next, we were gonna be having an update on the website, but I was remiss, I didn't point out who's in the room here with us. We're in the barn, so is Sean Driscoll, running the Zoom, Mark Higgins, myself, Mark Rosum, Terrence Keneally, Janice Kennefic, Bridget Sullivan, Allison Fletcher, and Stephen Coleman, along with Tom Innes. So just so halfway through, telling who's here.
Yeah, thanks
Sorry.
for that. It's a who's who.
Yeah. All right, so the next one is an update on the website, so I think Stephen will come up.
Morning, everybody. So the outstanding initiatives for the website project, as of Thursday, May 2nd, you'll see there are 55 items to do, 13 in development, 34 ready for review, and 83 approved by the SSA since March 13th. Since publishing this slide, because things are moving in a fairly rapid clip, there are an additional 3 in the to-do bucket, making it 58, an additional 1 in development. Ready for review has been reduced by 17, and approved by the SSA has been increased by 12, making it 95. In addition to these items, site security remains in progress. Load testing remains in progress. Site monitoring remains in progress. And the Google Play Store also remains in progress. Sean, if you wouldn't mind. Because of the challenge with testing the application, the timeline, the estimated launch timeline has been affected by 2 weeks. But nonetheless, we do remain optimistic that there is a possibility that the launch date can occur late June, early July. We're what you see on item number 1, the internal beta test, that continues. So that's been kind of pushed into the future. We believe that's going to remain resident for the next couple of weeks, which kind of pushes everything back. One thing that I should emphasize from a financial standpoint is that since transitioning to the monthly support contract, there have been no change orders. Sean, if you wouldn't mind. And this is just an overview of the schedule as it was on the previous slide. So you can push everything back a couple of weeks. So we're in formal testing period now with security and load testing in progress. Simultaneously, which was the 29th, 30th, we continue to do bug fixes, and we've yet to get into live credit cards. I certainly welcome any questions and comments.
Questions? Joe, go ahead.
We're doing this right in the middle of our busy season. Would it be wise to put this off until September in case something goes wrong in the middle of July with everybody trying to make reservations?
I don't think anybody at the table would be resistant to that. I think as the time nears, we'll make that determination.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but the reservations have already been made by someone, in theory, if you know what I mean. So,
Yep.
yeah, this is so above my pay grade. Like, that's why I don't comment on these things. I can't even do the. Never mind. But they know what they're doing, Joe. You gotta kind of like give them a little, well, at least they're supposed to. I mean, this is something that, like, when I go into AT&T and get my phone switched, I gotta be like strapped down. because I'm scared that all my texts and all my information is gonna be gone, but it works. Somehow it happens. So that's
Same-
like how
same
you
with
have to
me.
think like that.
I depend
so
on
let me-
Mr.
let me-
Cahill for a lot of this computer things.
Let me emphasize that, in no way do we anticipate the new website taking over from the old website day one. We anticipate them running simultaneously in parallel for a period of time. As I said, as the date approaches, if in fact we feel that that we're not comfortable moving in that direction, we certainly will not do so. We are optimistic, but highly conservative in our approach.
Other questions from the Port Council? Is it a general consensus that we give them, we endorse the latitude of that decision-making process? John? Yeah.
I want to go back to what Joe said earlier, is that, we've waited so long for this to happen. By waiting another 2 months into the September timeframe, it'll allow Steve and his group the ability to breathe a little bit easier. And I understand that's a comment about a lot of the reservations have been made, but there's also a huge amount of activity that happens in July and August. People make revisions to reservations, and I just don't want to, I'm fearful that other things will surface. And I wonder, what's the downside of waiting till, say, September?
From my vantage point, none whatsoever.
So I would, Steve, I really respect and appreciate the work you're doing. I think you're doing a wonderful job, and I would support you if you wanted to do this in a less activity area of September, October.
I work at the pleasure of the board and the GM, so whatever decision happens to be made in consultation with me, I would hope, I'm happy to entertain.
Yeah, just one last comment. And doing large scale IT projects in my past, I would never launch at a peak period.
If there's one thing in this conversation I'm taking away is that point of view. It is not lost on me the importance of timing.
Yeah.
And as I said, I don't think there's anybody at the table willing to jeopardize any aspect of the business in order to force this reservation system into existence. We realize that it's
Website, not
Uh,
reservation system.
sorry, the website itself. We understand it's past due, over budget, and I don't think anyone believes that putting business in jeopardy is a worthwhile consideration.
I think in terms of the staff, we all understand that we're gonna get one shot to make the first impression here, and we wanna make sure that the system is working correctly. And that's why we wanna make sure that we're able to get to a point where we've addressed as many of these issues as we've been able to identify and corrected those. And, the likelihood is that, yes, no matter how much testing we've been doing, there's probably gonna be some scenario here that's gonna crop up that someone hadn't thought of in the testing model. But, we wanna make sure that that's working properly. And it's one thing if we didn't have a system that to be able to support operations with the website right now, that we have, but at some point here, we do want to get to it's taken a lot of resources, not just from the IT side, but from the operations side, Allison and Angela and the supervisors. It's also taken a lot of time from Mark's side up in accounting. The audit staff has been working quite a bit on this project as well from a financial, looking at it from a financial thing. So yes, I understand that we don't want to do anything that's going to upset the apple cart in the middle of the summertime, but we also want to make sure that we get this to the finish line.
Would senior management be adverse to waiting till September?
No, I think it's the issue is we want to make sure that we continue. I think if we come out right now and say we're going to wait till September, do we lose some momentum on what we've been doing? And I think we need to continue to keep our efforts there and trying to, in order to even get to, you know, at that point of September, you know, if we're saying September, then there's still a lot of effort that needs to be taking place. It may be stretched out over a longer period of time, but there's still a lot that needs to be accomplished.
Yeah, yeah.
If you were to delay until September, is there additional cost to do that?
Right now, we're under a service agreement with Stellar Elements or ADK or Project 202, whatever they're going by right now. And I believe that service contract runs through September. So at that point, we've got to make a decision as to what the next service contract is going to be looking like in terms of support. We've had one in the past with IMARC. It's the type of thing where you get a website and then you're totally, you know, you say goodbye to the developers. We're going to continue to need their assistance going forward. So.
Yeah,
Okay,
our carrying costs don't change dramatically. We're time and material with IMARC, we're a set fee with Stellar Elements, we have internal costs that we're paying nonetheless. We've got costs with the cloud services that are fairly consistent on a month basis at the moment. So there's really no change to carrying cost.
Okay, good. What I'm hearing is the Port Council is supportive of management taking the tack that is going to be the best, ensure the best outcome. And I guess I'd make the same analogy that we made earlier with the delivery of the ships, that these are long-term projects that are, you know, the outcomes are more important than, you know, the specific timing of the delivery date. So I would put that in the same category. John?
Mr. Chair, do you think it's appropriate to maybe take a vote from the Port Council members as to our position of postponing this until September? Or unnecessary?
I guess I'm not sure that a vote is needed. I think we've put an opinion out there, but I'm not sure that I see it as a vote, but I'm certainly open to other people's thoughts.
If I may, it also, you know, if there was some sort of vote, whether I think we get to a point where we're going to want to be doing the beta anyways to have our customers have the ability to explore a new site, but still have the ability to use the old site if they're more comfortable with that. So, you know, and we may be in a position, you know, hopefully we're in a position that we can roll that out, even if the decision is that the final rollout isn't going to happen until after Labor Day, that we would still want to try to get it out there before then, just to start getting people familiar with it.
Okay. Nat, it looked like you were going to chime in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like agreeing with what Bob's saying. This is like, let's say the Barnstable was coming July 20th. Just, we're going to do a switch in Hyannis. No, we won't do it that easily, but it will happen. I mean, this is sort of like the fact that Steve mentioned the simultaneous part. That's what made me feel a little bit better. You know, again, above my pay grade, but that sounds like a simple solution in a complicated process. But I have no idea how that works, obviously, but that's good news if that's the case. I don't think this is, Bob, and one of you guys can chime in. This isn't like potentially like the system shutting down at the February, you know, first day opening kind of thing. I mean, I think that fear is in people's minds here, something to that level. Is that kind of like impossible for that to happen in July or June or whenever this is going to happen? Something to that magnitude.
Yeah, we typically don't see anywhere near. Well, the summertime is a busy time in terms of people traveling and that, but obviously the Our Super Bowl is the openings in January and February when we open up with some reservations. That's when.
Yeah.
That's the biggest demand.
So, John, are you okay? I think if the minutes reflect the general consensus here, that's probably
good.
the main message we want to get back to the Board of Governors and.
Yeah, thank you, Rob.
Okay, thanks. Right, thanks for that report. Appreciate it.
Thank you all very much. I take very seriously all of your concerns.
Thank you.
Steve. All right, so next, we wanted to provide a quick update on the safety quality management system and have Bridget Sullivan.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Bridget.
Morning.
Oh, sorry. So per our certified safety quality management system, on an annual basis, we are required to conduct process audits to verify conformance to ISO 9001:2015, quality management and ISM safety management systems. We outsource our internal audit to Robert Leach of CS East. He is a certified ISO consultant. During the course of the audit, multiple locations and vessels were and all vessels in service were audited. I received the preliminary report yesterday, which identified a total of 13 findings. Comparatively, during our first internal audit, there were a total of 26 findings last year. Once the report has been finalized, I'll be happy to provide it. I would like to take an opportunity to share a quote from Mr. Leach regarding his overall experience conducting our internal audit. There's noticeable understanding among employees regarding their operational safety and quality responsibilities, reflecting a positive culture within the organization. So with such a young system, findings are expected and appreciated, and that is how we continually improve our system. Next slide, please. We have a busy month ahead. We have our external RENA ISO audit, ISM audit rather, in late May. This is a documentation review only, then to be followed by our external RENA ISO audit the following week. These audits will include multiple land-based and vessel-based verifications. Through the internal and external audit process, the authority will continue to strive for a high level of excellence with our safety and quality management processes. Next slide, please. Moving on, we also had a fantastic turnout for our T&D Fair. This marks the 4th conducted since it was instituted in the fall of 2022. Over 125 employees participated in one or more of the courses offered. The picture seen here is from the oil spill drill conducted in Woods Hole. Next slide, please. During the fair, I surveyed 51 employees who took part in one or more of our safety-specific trainings. This was done to get a feel of where we stand as an organization within regarding our overall safety culture. Next slide, please. Prior to the start of the fair, I conducted a separate survey with the hopes of determining if the participation with the training and development fair would have a positive impact. Over 70 employees responded to this specific survey, and the results on how they deemed our overall safety rated as 4.07. Next slide, please. Towards the end of the fair, 51 employees again participated and rated our safety awareness as a 4.39 out of 5. The difference in the average rating should be a fair representation of the positive impact participating in the training development fair has on the authority's safety culture. A 4.39 out of 5 gives us many opportunities to improve, to which feedback was also received by our participants on how we can improve. Next slide, please. Overall, of those who participated in the survey, over 80% found the T&D fair to either be very or extremely useful. This is also a similar trend to surveys conducted in the past. Next slide, please. And finally, we have the feedback from our surveyed participants. This feedback will be part of our continuous improvement goals with future T&D fairs. And I'm confident that together as a team of land-based and vessel-based employees will continue to strengthen the authority's safety culture. Any questions?
Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, again, I want to commend the Steamship Authority for their very hard work in this area. I think It's one of the most important things that we do in terms of ensuring both our passenger and our employee safety. So I just want to say again, thank you so much for doing such great work in this area. I do have a couple of questions. One, in reviewing the listing of where you looked at for the internal audit for landside operations, I noticed that the Fairhaven facility was not listed. Is Fairhaven part of the audit process, and will it be included in the future?
Fairhaven is part of the audit process. During the ISO audits, it's a sample audit. So not all locations are audited at the same time. So if it's not in this round of internal or external audits, it'll probably populate in the following year.
Okay. And I noted that you said that the final audit report is pending. When that is finished, will that be distributed to the advisory board members?
Yes, it can be, certainly.
Great. And then finally, you mentioned 125 employees participated in the fair. I'm curious as a percentage of total employees, what's the percentage of employees who participated in the fair?
That's a great question, and I should have anticipated it. So I will have to get back to you.
It's probably roughly around 20% at this point, based on our workforce. About 600 employees, 125 of roughly 600 employees.
But it's important to. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say it's important to note that not all trainings are required on an annual basis. So even if it were 20% of our total overall employees, that does not mean that it's only 20% of our total employees regarding all the trainings that have been offered. So for example, if I did a training last fall, then I'm not necessarily going to have that training expired for another couple of years.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But I guess going forward, I'm still unsure whether this training, the safety training, is a voluntary thing or a mandatory thing for our employees.
It's a combination of voluntary and mandatory. So each of the department heads, terminal reservations, works on preparing a list of who should attend. There's certain of the classes, for instance, OSHA 10 training is a requirement for individuals. So it depends upon their job function as to which ones would be mandatory versus which ones are voluntary.
Okay. And then to encourage participation, does management allow people who, I know we're short-staffed a lot, but do we encourage people to go to training and give them time away from their regular jobs to do so?
Yeah, so for instance, if it's a vessel employee, we have to make sure that we've filled their slot on the bullet. So make sure that the vessel's sailing, the maintenance, or whether it's reservations or terminal. We work that with the shore side to make sure that we've gotten a good representation. When we do some of these drills, for instance, the oil spill drill, the ability to be able to not only use the vessel employees on part of that drill, but also it becomes a training exercise as well for the shoreside people in that regard too. So it's kind of a mix.
Okay.
If I can, Mark, on that point, the trainings are offered 2 weeks. So if you can't make the first week, that training is offered again the following week. Especially with the Ocean 10 maritime training, for example. We've done that way, lockout, tag out, confined space training, those type of things. We're trying to get those to our people because they're one of the most important type of trainings that people need to be taking. So it's a very intensive 2 weeks of commitment, and so far this is what your fourth one. So we're honing it and making it more efficient, and I think the work that Bridget's doing with our vendors to get it done and as well as Janice to get people to attend, as well as our senior staff is going really well. So we're seeing the benefits of it. I myself went to the Ocean 10 training this last time in this very room, and participated with our folks, and the reception was really, really good. So the more we can implement it, the more we can get people involved. It's going to reap a lot of benefits. So.
No, I agree. I think it's a great program, and all I'd ask is management continue to do what you can to encourage all of our employees' full participation. Thank you.
Great questions, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, agree. Thank you, Mark. Anybody else on the board council have questions on this topic?
I think Mark said it all.
Yeah, thanks for that. I would really
Thank you.
endorse this whole program as being really important. And thanks for your leadership on it. I'm having internet trouble dropping in and out. I'm hoping that I'm not dropping out at a key moment, but if I do drop out permanently, Nat, over to you.
No problem. I'm done eating now, so we're all set.
Okay. Right. I'm not sure what the problem is here. I'm sitting in my office, so you would think I'd have bulletproof.
You gotta pay the bill, Mark, Rob. You gotta pay the
Talk to the
bill.
boss.
Okay, Bob, back to you. Next topic.
All right, so next one is the license request from 41 North, proposed license request from 41 North Offshore. Back in October, we received a letter from 41 North detailing its proposal seeking to renew and amend the license that they had at that time to continue to operate a tug and barge freight service between New Bedford and Nantucket. But they also requested to add service to the Vineyard. And the request back then was through December of 2026. So following the receipt of that proposal, we had some concerns about the logistics of the Martha's Vineyard service. It's also a new service, so we felt that it fell under the licensing policy. So we need to make sure we advertised it and have a hearing for it. At the end of the year, the board did approve the 41 North license for the Nantucket service through 2026. But deferred any action on the Vineyard portion of it. So we previously reported 41 North is proposing a freight barge service. And so it doesn't impact the passenger only services that we offer from New Bedford. From the other carriers, it's strictly a vehicle, a barge. They're not able to carry passengers on board the vessel. They're looking, it's an on-demand service that they're proposing. And they've indicated that they've received some inquiries about providing services. I don't think that was ever quantified in terms of the number of inquiries that they've had, but they're thinking that there may be a need for some additional service that they would potentially be able to provide. Their proposal had been to increase to be using our Vineyard Haven terminal for this service, but when we're looking at this, we're looking at the opportunities to be utilizing the Oak Bluffs terminal when that facility is open during its season. So therefore, we'd want to limit the size of the trucks to no more than 80,000 pounds, which is the limit that we have on our current freight service into Oak Bluffs on the dock. So we did have a hearing. We received a number of comments that are included in your packet. The vast majority of those were in support of this service. And as we've looked at this, staff is of the opinion that 41 North's request to amend its current license to include operation freight only service between New Bedford and Martha's Vineyard through December 2026. Be approved that the 41 North freight service should be directed seasonally during the summer to the authority's Oak Bluffs terminal, provided that any freight trucks to be offloaded or loaded onto the barge weigh no more than 80,000 pounds, and that this be approved by the members. But only if 41 North continues to adhere to the terms and conditions of the authority's license agreement, including payment of the appropriate and reasonable license fees, and dockage fees is, included in the draft staff summary, so. I don't know whether Terrence has anything you'd like to add before, we'd love to hear from the core council as to, this proposal.
No, I mean, I think, with working with Jonah in Nantucket, and I know Matt knows that experience well. It seems to be going well over there. I'm not saying that there's a overwhelming demand right now. But I think, it's one of those situations where in Nantucket, I think everybody recalls how that kind of materialized and developed in with the UPS, the ground carriers situation. There's not a definitive overwhelming demand right now. It's kind of a situation where he's getting these inquiries and he wants to try to see what develops through it. And I think there are people, obviously, the folks that came to the hearing, people who have submitted written comments are encouraging us to make the recommendation. And again, we're trying to just take everything, as I mentioned in the staff summary, take everything into consideration and make the recommendation to the board. So this is why we're here to talk with you folks about it today and you get your feedback as well. And then we'll incorporate that obviously into the recommendation to the board and have some more discussion about it.
Thanks, Terrence. Open for discussion. Joe?
I suppose since it's going to be affecting Oak Bluffs, first of all, has anybody ever talked to Packer or the Offshore Wind about using their facilities outside of the harbor in Vineyard Haven?
Yeah, so earlier I did have a conversation with Mr. Packer, and then we were trying to see if we could perhaps coordinate, some sort of working agreement with, 41 North and Tisbury Towing, but we weren't able to make those connections in terms of it. In terms of the Vineyard Wind, I was under the impression that they were using this, the Tisbury Towing facility, but is it a separate facility or? So.
What size trucks are going to be coming? You said they're going to be limited. Will they be big trailer trucks? Because I think that's what part of the problem that Woods Hole is having. And can the dock and Oak Bluffs support some of these trucks?
Yeah, so what 41 North is proposing is a similar service to what they're doing to Nantucket, in which it is tractor trailers. It's just regular over the road. They're not over wide or overweight vehicles. In this case, to be going through our Oak Bluffs facility, we do limit the size of the weight on those trucks to being under 80,000 pounds. So that's why we're doing it. This isn't for oversized material or anything like that, because if we're not able to transport it on our boats because of width dimensions or something like that, 41 North wouldn't be able to do it either. So, those are what's that typically are referred to Tisbury Towing.
Okay. My other questions are going to be is that at this point in time, I think probably we should be contacting the Oak Bluff Selectman, the harbor master, and just to make a few notes of the police chief. And as far as any vote for me, I would have to take some direction from the Board of Selectmen at Oak Bluff since they appointed me. As I said, you're sort of like a mugwump, as we used to have years ago. Your mug's on one side, your wumps on the other. I represent both the Steamship Authority and the town of Oak Bluffs, but I think this is something that should be brought to both the Board of Selectmen and the harbor master and the police chief.
Mr. Chairman, can I just?
Yes, go ahead, Nat.
I just want to just kind of say something simple, which is what I like to do. This, just to keep in mind, Joe, the vehicles that may come on this barge are not bringing vehicles here that wouldn't already be coming. We're not like matadors and we're just like flagging people off the road to come visit the Vineyard and Nantucket. Like they're coming one way or the other on a boat. One of our boats somehow And over the years, and this whole term on demand that they came up with for this, it's actually a really smart way of explaining this. Back in the day over here on the Rich Island, as one of your beloved former members used to say, like, for example, when there was like the pops, at the worst time of year to bring a boatload of vehicles for 2 days, August. Oh yeah, no problem. Just swing on down to Hyannis and they just drive right on. Sure they do. So we used to block the boat for that trip through the reservation people in Mashpee would just pretend that that freight boat wasn't actually there. And it would just fill up with vehicles for the stage and the music and the chairs and the porta potties are already here. So all that, right? That is the kind of stuff that needs something other than just the boats, our boats. So, and that's just one example. There are other things that happen that require certain on-demandy kind of things that just can't work through reservations. The weight thing and all that with Oak Bluffs is a whole nother animal. That wasn't brought up last month. So I'm sure that there's a seasonal solution baked into this somehow. So I'm not too concerned myself, but that's not my decision. I'm over here. I'm just trying to say, Joe, that whatever's coming on this barge is coming somehow anyway. So it's not more. Okay.
I'm not objecting to it, but in Oak Bluffs, when the boats come in, the police department sends 2 police officers up there to direct traffic.
Yeah.
They have to make sure that there's more people coming in that they're going to be able to do this. Again, as I say, the Board of Selectmen, I don't think they have any knowledge that this was coming into Oak Bluffs, because I left halfway through the meeting, the last meeting that we had, and I think they should be consulted along with the harbor master. But I have no objection to bringing the barges in here. I think it's probably, it's not a bad idea. But I think the selectmen should have some say in this.
Sometimes, I guess I'll just close with this. Sometimes too much information makes more questions. And that's what I get. I'm so used to dealing with this kind of stuff over here. I mean, I'm like, I feel like I'm a free consultant. So I'm just giving you that thought that
I'm just
have to explain it in a way that doesn't get people all like thinking that there's like wide loads and 85-foot trailers and stuff like that.
I think I can explain it to the board. I think I can explain to the Board of Selectmen, but I think since they're my appointing authority, that this should be run by, in front of them.
Yeah.
And I'll make that known to them today. I'll give the administrator a call.
So I don't know whether, Mr. Muni, you're there or,
I think I'm back.
I do see that, the representative for 41 North does have his hand raised. I don't know if you would like to hear from them during this or.
Sure, absolutely. I want to be sure that our other Port Council members who might want to chime in, but sure, let's defer to the 41 North representative, then we can continue the conversation.
Jace, you're muted.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your time. I just wanted to touch on a couple talking points. We originally proposed to come into Vineyard Haven using the Steamship Authority's terminal. We do see some significant operational issues going into Oak Bluffs. We do with the barge. It's a narrow channel, as well as we could deal with some weather over there. What most of our demand has been mostly events. So we've brought like full weddings over there, lighting, trucks for lighting, food trucks, a couple semis with different materials on it. We've also brought like full construction site jobs, say, we excavator, skid steers, dump trucks, rock trucks. We got a call this morning for a request to Martha's Vineyard from the Riley brothers. That's just kind of what we're looking to accomplish, is just to bring stuff like that over. It's not anything that would be out of the norm, but it's like Nat said before, mostly stuff that it all needs to get over there at one specific time, and it would free up more availability on the freight boats for the Steamship Authority.
Rob, if I may? Rob, are you with us?
He may have a connectivity problem.
Yeah, I don't think you would object to this. Chase, I just had a question for you. Is the service, whether it's Oak Bluffs or Vineyard Haven, is it a roll on, roll off?
That's correct. Yeah. So what we've done in the past is we've had since we're a tug and barge, we move a lot slower than the ferries. So we've had these companies drop their vehicles off. We then drive them onto the barge. We schedule it with the companies to meet us wherever we're going. In the past, it's been the Nantucket terminal. They then get on their vehicles, drive them off, and we make sure that we're not in the Steamship Authority parking lot. There's no staging involved. We make it pretty clear that they have to get in and get out as soon as we get there.
So where would they be staged if no one shows?
We haven't run into that issue. We make it clear that they have to be there. That's part of the service, is that they have to be off the Steamship Authority property as soon as we show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in communication with them. So I schedule. In the past, I've reached out to Elaine Mooney in Nantucket, and I ask her, which Steamship Authority boat would you like us to be there? That works out best for you. I get that time from her. I relay it to the drivers. I relay it to the boat captain, so everybody's on the same page. And we haven't had an issue so far, as far as somebody not showing up. We've also had subcontracted drivers on Nantucket that are on standby just for that very reason, in case we do run into that issue where somebody doesn't show up.
Rob, are you with us?
I guess not yet.
On and off. Sorry
all
about
right.
that. I really apologize. Anybody else want to add any points? John, back to you.
Well, I think Gordon had his hand up before me, and I do have a series of questions, but I can wait.
Okay, Gordon?
Sure, just very briefly, my sense is the seasonality question is because of the activity in Vineyard Haven, and that might be more available off-season, and that's why we're directing them to Oak Bluffs in the summer. So my question, Chase, from the inquiries you've gotten about the service, what's the kind of seasonal breakdown of those demands? Is the sort of on-demand most likely going to be in the summer, or is the construction activity off-season? What's your sense, or is it sort of the demand inquiries sort of spread more yearly?
It's definitely, thank you for the question, Gordon. It's definitely more so in the summer. We have gotten it spread out, but once the reservations are given out, people kind of panic that they can't get on for a certain job, or like I said, we got a call for a full wedding that was that weekend. We brought it over on a Thursday. So stuff like that, but primarily in the summer is where we get most of and it also depends. If it's construction, it's off season, fall, winter, but most of our attraction has been in the summer months.
The logistical problems of shotgun weddings, right? Like if you don't have them planned,
Yeah, we had to make sure. I had the company call me, and the future wife called me, so we had to make sure we got that one done for him.
I bet, before he changes his mind.
Right.
John,
I also had a question. I'm sorry with the Oak Bluff's proposal, is that would that be year round or is that seasonal?
No.
That would be seasonal when that facility is open for our services.
Understood. Thank you.
John?
Yeah, I have a series of comments and some questions to the group, to the Steamship Authority and to you, Chase. But before I start, I just want to say a couple of things. You know, this is not a reflection on 41 North, because I believe that you guys are reputable, doing good work. It's also not a reflection on with my friends in Falmouth or Woods Hole. I'm a big believer in finding ways, creative ways to get freight off of the roads in Woods Hole and in Falmouth, and whether it be New Bedford or other locations, I'm all for it. My concerns as a Port Council member for Tisbury, however, is more about I don't have the data yet from the Steamship Authority as to what kind of demand we're talking about. But more importantly than that, it's really about the location. And if I had an aerial map of our harbor, you know, on the west side of our harbor is where the Steamship Authority comes in. It's also where our pleasure crafts are. It's also where our restaurants are. And that's sort of how we've grown the town of Tisbury to reflect that. On the east side is where our, let's call it the light industrial side is. That's where Vineyard Wind is. That's where Tisbury Towing and Transportation is. There's a boatyard over there. And that would be Tisbury's preferred location. And I think we should make every effort as a Port Council members and as the Steamship Authority is to exhaust all possibilities of working with that side of the harbor. And I say so because it gets pretty crowded down there if you were to take a ride over. And, you know, it's important that we exhaust all possibilities. And finally, I want to just say that I support Joe and his concerns about Oak Bluffs. He should be able to bring this to the attention of the select board members in Oak Bluffs before any vote is taken.
Thanks, John. Any other comments? Joe?
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not opposed to this, and I agree with John. We try to help alleviate the problems that Woods Hole and they're having, you know, coming down the state road in there. But again, I think we should bring this before the Board of Selectmen, and maybe 41 North could be at that meeting. Or I know they Zoom, that some arrangements could be made. As I say, I'm going to contact the town administrator today and tell him about these what's been happening. Thank you.
Gordon?
Yeah, I think making sure the select board knows about it, I think makes a lot of sense, just so that sort of cards face up, as they say. I'll also just say, as the host of 41 North, right, they do great work. We're always interested in supporting freight activity to the islands from here and doing our part. There's a bunch that comes through from both the Packers and 41 North. So making sure everybody on the island is in favor of it, we obviously would be supportive as well.
Thanks, Gordon. I guess I would like to give a little perspective from the Falmouth side. And likewise, Joe, I have the same obligation to our constituents here. And as you might imagine, this would be something that they would be very interested in. So I guess my ask would be that we, you know, approach this from the standpoint of trying to find good workable solutions as opposed to finding roadblocks. Because I think this is, and also recognizing that, you know, maybe to some extent it's a bit of an experiment, but we should be willing to do that.
I'm not intending this to be a roadblock. I think it's just something that should be brought to the Board of Selectmen. I agree that it would be very, very helpful to getting that over here, and it would be a fine service for them to be performing. But again, I think the Board of Selectmen should be informed about this.
And Rob,
I'm not opposed to it.
Rob, I want to support what Joe just said, is that we don't want to be seen as roadblocks at all. We really want to work with our friends in Falmouth on this issue. It's just we have to be careful and bring it on as long as we can get everybody to be in agreement as to, you know, the proper location and public safety.
No, I appreciate both those points.
Robert, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
So, and I apologize, I was remiss, I should have reached out to, the town of Oak Bluffs, prior to this as well, so, that's something that as we were looking at the application request, the amount of traffic that we have that go into each of those terminals and the time of year, harbor congestion in Vineyard Haven during the summer period.
Okay, thanks.
We thought that this might be a solution, but I didn't take it to the next step. I should have reached out to the town of Oak Bluff, so my apologies for that, and I'll work with Joe on getting that, information to them.
Bob, if you could have 41 North text me their information, you text me their information, I can provide that to the town administrator and then probably give 41 North her telephone number so they can be in contact with her.
Yeah, we can work on that.
Okay, thank you.
Nat, it looked like you had your hand up.
I did. I think I'm gonna keep my mouth shut now. It's all good. I had something, but
Oh,
Sorry.
man, you're tantalizing us.
well,
All right,
He was hanging.
John, over to you.
I just wanted to say one final comment is that we might want to reach out to Vineyard Wind. They do own that property next to the Tisbury Towing and Transportation. And I think their activity is such that they're going to have 3 or 4 slips there. So it's worth that phone call on behalf of the Steamship Authority, calling up Vineyard Wind.
Yeah. We'll
I know a couple people there, so I can give them a call.
we'll try to work something out in that regard. I guess I was uninformed that was actually, I thought that was just an extension of Tisbury Towing, but.
It is not. Yeah. It may be a dead end, but it's worth a phone call.
Thanks, John.
Bob, I missed your last. Unfortunately, I just keep dropping in and out. Anything further on this topic?
No, I think, we lose them again. Yeah, we lost them.
Yeah.
What's going on at Audit?
So, Rob, I don't know if you can hear us or not, but.
Yeah.
I think we'll follow up with the town of Oak Bluffs, we'll follow up with with Vineyard Wind, as well as to see if those, what's a more viable option.
Sounds good. All right, appreciate that. And Chase, thank you for the initiative of 41 North. And obviously, we got some details to work through, but I think there's a general consensus that this is a good thing. So let's get there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your time. I appreciate it.
Back to you, Bob.
All right.
It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Hey, Nat, can I ask you to
Yes, sir.
go to the chair's seat? 'Cause
Sure.
I'm so intermittent and I'm not doing the
It's
meeting
okay.
justice.
ask the least technological guy to be on. I'm all set.
Yeah, thank you. I'm handing the gavel over to Nat.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Thank you. So we don't need any action on this, Bob.
Well, I think we need to do a little bit more homework first.
Today's town meeting day over here, so we could say positive recommendation or table or take no action. What do we want for this?
I'd probably say take no action. at this
Yeah,
point.
I think we're.
Continue.
I think staff has got instructions as to going back and doing some more homework, so we'll do
Okay.
that, bring it back.
Okay. Very good. Next item is the authorization to market the Gay Head and the Katama.
All right, so staff was gonna be requesting that the members declare the MB Gay Head and MB Katama to be surplus property in order to allow management to start to issue an invitation for bids for their sale. After obtaining an updated survey of the vessels, management will place advertisements on its availability in several of the widely distributed publications, and hopefully be in a position to present to the members a recommendation on the disposition of the vessels. It's simply not practical for the authority to continue to maintain these vessels in light of the pending arrival of the OSVs. For example, insurance costs, premiums for the vessels are more than $130,000 a year each. The combined maintenance expenses exceeds 1.75 million a year to maintain those vessels. And the MV Katama also needs to be dry docked in 2024 in order to maintain its certificate of insurance. So that'll be all these dry docks are expensive. So what we're going to be requesting the board to do is to declare them as being surplus, which allows management to put together an invitation for bids for the sale of those vessels. So we did have a vessel survey done in terms of identifying what the potential scrap value of those vessels would be if there were no bidders for it, and what we would potentially get from scrapping the vessels as well. So I think that we factor that in as a minimum bid for the vessels. So we're looking for some direction from the Port Council. I know the vessels aren't here yet, but I wanted to wait until the Barnstable and Aquinnah were actually put back in the water. And by the time we get approval from the board and put together an invitation for bid, we get that authorized to be issued. We're going to be looking at June, July, anyways, to be getting in some of these publications. They're monthly, so the advertising for those publications is limited windows in terms of being able to get those advertised. So.
Okay, Bob. Before we go to the rest of the members, can I just throw out a couple of things? This was the item that I flagged as this is kind of my wheelhouse type stuff. So I've got a couple questions. We haven't sold a boat since the Flying Cloud, correct?
The Flying Cloud was the last one we sold, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I tried to think of what we have actually sold for a driving vessel, and I think that was the Islander was scrapped, right?
No, the Islander was actually sold to Governor's Island.
Oh, okay.
But they failed to dry dock the vessel and maintain it. So when they went to work on it, the Coast Guard was requiring them to bring it all up to code, which meant that that dry dock became a multi-million-dollar dry docking, and they just determined that it wasn't worthwhile to preserve the vessel, so they sold it for scrap.
Okay.
We sold.
Yeah. So I see something really positive here. If there's a way that the procurement or whatever we're doing, RFP, I don't know, whatever process you want to use, is allows the potential buyer to go on the boat, see it in action. It's not like it's just sitting there. They're going to be running potentially up to September at least, because of what Mark said. The Aquinnah is not coming up here till September, so you have to think about that in light of the last few weeks that we need them.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to anybody talking about getting rid of these boats tomorrow. I can tell you that. I'll just blow a gasket. So with all the breakdowns and all the little problems that come up, we need these spare boats. But is there an advantage to that than somebody having to sort of just, see a boat cold and have to sort of, go through maintenance records and things and visual, but they're not really actually on the boat running? That number one. Number two is, what boats in our fleet have the same engines and stuff, if any? Does the Nantucket have the same engines as the Katama and the Gayhead? I can't remember, Bob.
The Nantucket has EMD engines, but that's built in. That was repowered, so they don't recall if it was a Tier 0 still.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think they do. I just couldn't remember if there was something that's interchangeable on any of the other regular boats.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking on the scrap side of things. That's why I'm saying it. Okay, so that was my concern, just that there's a possibility that these boats could be taken for a test drive by somebody. So
Yeah.
I don't think we've had that capability ever in my knowledge.
Well, yeah, so yes, there would be an advantage while these vessels are operating, if anyone that's interested in looking at them, they could make arrangements to do so. We did that with the Flying Cloud where it was on the run actually, and then actually after we had brought it back to Fairhaven and tied it up, we actually ended up having to bring it out to run to ultimately who had purchased the vessels. So and the COIs for these vessels, as I said, the Katama needs to have a COI done this year, but we can put that off until October or November.
And the last boat before, I think, is the Ariga, Bob. You were selling tickets. No, you were probably higher than that.
The Ariga, we also sold the Shimanchi.
Well, that
So-
doesn't count. That don't count. That was a, we
That
don't
was
want
a
to go
good
there.
boat. That was a good
I like the
boat.
Shimanchi. Yeah, I like the
Come
Shimanchi.
on, Shimanchi, come on.
Not both that, come on.
So,
Not that bad.
Jeez. All right.
Your
Anyone
Nantucket
have any other
show.
questions for Bob or Mark or Mark or Mark?
No.
Yeah, I'm listening, so I'm gonna chime in as just a regular member. Thanks, Nat. Curious about what the process would be. You mentioned RFP. I guess I'm wondering RFP for what?
Well, I just was saying, whatever the process.
No, not you. I think Bob mentioned RFP and I was curious
Oh,
what he
okay.
meant by that.
Yeah, so what we would do is we put together an invitation for bids for the sale of those vessels. There'd be a reserve price that, that it has to be that or higher for sale. We may find that there may be a broker out there that may want to try to market these vessels as well. In terms of some time ago, there was a broker that had reached out to want to know if we were interested in
Go again.
selling them. So I think, we've maintained these vessels. I think there'd be excellent choice for someone to purchase and use for services. But I think the invitation for bid would be as is, where is, with no guarantees. We have the invitation for bid from the previous vessels, the Islander and Flying Cloud, and we'll pull that together and have that as I think we'd be coming back at next month's board council meeting and board meeting with a draft of those invitation for bids, so that way each of you have an opportunity to see that before it hits the street.
Okay, I didn't know if it made sense to, engage a broker as opposed to conducting this process yourselves.
Yeah, I think from a public process, because those vessels are valued over $5,000, we'd want to have it as public a process as possible. And in terms of placing advertisements, we may find that there may be a broker that we may want to determine for them to be an intermediary between that, but I think we need to talk with that procurement officer in that regard, and maybe stepping out of our bounds on what we can do there, but.
Okay.
I think what the issue was with the Flying Cloud, for instance, is that we went through the invitation for bid process on the Flying Cloud. And when we received no bids for that vessel, we then, the board authorized the general manager to seek other opportunities to be able to dispose of that vessel, sell that vessel. So.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking you might end up in that same scenario where, your public process doesn't attract any attention, but a broker, might be more successful beating the bushes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Rob. So Bob, so what are we looking to do here? Just authorization to go
If
to
you'd
the
like,
board?
yeah, if the board council would like to either recommend or not recommend that we go to the board to have these vessels declared as surplus to start the process. We'd love to hear from the board council on that.
Yeah, with the caveats we said, because you're gonna get the same questions in 2 weeks from the board members, so. You know, the allowing the time to elapse and the test drive stuff and getting the word out on the street, as you used to say. I know it's not a street, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's a lot of different buyers. It could be these little islands. It could end up being a crabbing boat. There's all sorts of stuff out there that and plus the boats are the same, which is interesting to discuss as well. They're identical except for one set of stairs or something. I forgot what the differences are. But anyway, so I'll accept a motion to give staff authorization to market the Gay Head and the Katama.
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Mr.
Aye.
Cahill?
Cahill, aye.
Joe Solito?
Aye.
Mark Reese?
Aye.
Mr. Carr?
Aye.
And Rob Monier?
Aye.
And the vice chair votes aye. Thank you. Staffing report, Bob, or who's this under?
This will be Janice.
Okay.
Yeah. This is,
Thank
we provided the board an update. We have to make sure the board council heard this. I think it's the same update.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So this is a snapshot of some of the events that we attended, career fair wise. Does not list all of the vocational and regional high schools that we attended, but we will continue our relationship with Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce. The Maritime Academies, Joe Russes had gone to Mass Maritime, Maine, SUNY, and California State. He was able to recruit 1 applicant from California, 2 from Maine, and several from Mass Maritime. A dozen, I think a dozen or so from Mass Maritime. So we will continue our efforts there. And I will be out on the 5th or the 14th of May now to Nantucket High School. Next slide, please. So the staffing levels, I'll be reviewing some of the shore side. Mark Capens will address the vessel side, but this shows you, this is the reservation group. Typically, we have really good resources that come through for the reservation team. So these numbers, you'll see the actual versus the budgeted. That budgeted number will increase as we get closer to as we continue through the hiring cycle. So this is obviously being our busiest season. Next slide, please. So the maintenance team, this group tends to be pretty steady. We have received great feedback recently from Matt Keller, who's our vessel maintenance manager, on the quality and quantity of resumes that he's been receiving for some of the trade positions. So pretty confident that we'll be able to continue to source for them as well. Next slide.
On the vessel side, right now, you'll see that we have an actual 28 from captain, budgeted 29. We actually have 1 captain on our medical, and we're training another. The pilots, actually 26, 31. We have in our pilot program, several pilots right now in drawing their charts. Once they draw their charts, they'll go finish their training, and they should be signed off as pilot. Last summer, we also looked at hiring in mates to serve in that position from outside. First, you see we're at 13 budgeted, 13 actual, boats in the safe, 15, 15, AVs, 68 actual, 64 budgeted, OS 54 and 47, chief engineers 28, 28, oil 27, 28. We have a couple of people in our oil training program. We're right. It's going to be very tight this summer. I could, it's if we're looking at people that would go on medical, any kind of sickness calling in, we're going to have issues over the summer.
I will say that, I'm sorry, that's okay.
And this is seen industry wide. You know, I just saw an article yesterday. Maine State Ferry Service is down 20% of their able-bodied seamen. And they've had a rash of cancellations. Washington State Ferries actually cut back their schedule by 25% and still had over 1,000 cancellations in the first quarter. Some of those are mechanical, a lot of staffing. But it's across the industry. It's just there's a lack of mariners coming in through the pipeline. A lot of people are retiring. There's not a whole lot in that the backfill time.
So we did have, I want to say 9 or 10 OSs that started this week, maybe ABs sprinkled in there, but there was a lot of activity with the fleet office this week, which is great. Next slide. So the parking lot, I'm addressing this because last year we had an issue with the parking lot and bus drivers. And, but this year, the feedback that I've been receiving is that they're feeling very confident in their staffing levels. One of the issues with, so the bus drivers in Hyannis and Nantucket it's the CDL. That continues to be an issue. I spoke with Elaine over on Nantucket recently. And again, it's between the CDL drivers, there's a lot of competition over there. The hourly rate that some of these CDL drivers can get outside of the Steamship Authority, it's just a very challenging situation. Combined with the housing prices or lack thereof. And on the Falmouth end for the bus drivers, last year we were really struggling. This year, those numbers have increased. But I'm speaking with Mike Young again, he feels really confident. He's had several new hires coming in, seasonal hires, and then several returning from last year, seasonal folks returning. So feeling better about that. So last year we had 19 retirees. This year to date, we've had 3. So we're up at about 40 new hires as of last month when I presented this to the board. We have hired an assistant port engineer who will hopefully be starting with us next week. And again, we're just continuing our recruiting efforts in the hopes that we can fill these positions for the terminals and the shore side. Any questions?
Joe, go ahead.
You had another section there, I think, when you sent out our about the number of hires that you had, that I didn't see anybody coming in as deck officers. Is there a problem with that?
Yeah, so typically the deck officers come up through the ranks here, so they don't come in directly as a captain. And that's why, as Mark pointed out, that we've been doing these training programs to get people to be stepping up and become pilots, and from there to become captains. And it requires knowledge of the routes, the knowledge of the vessels, and that's going to be a big issue here right now. When we bring someone in to become a pilot or a captain, we need them to be versed on 10 different distinct vessels. Well, Mr. Lowell, the Katama and Gayhead are technically not sisters, they're close, but they're not. But the issue, and this is one of the reasons why we had made a recommendation on these OSBs, because we get these vessels, that's 3 vessels that they can be checked out on after just training on one of them. Because they will be identical. So, those are the things that, trying to streamline this process going forward is to be able to have that, commonality. The long-term capital budget includes, a Woods Hole style vessel as perhaps the next vessel build. So that way, again, commonality of the systems and training. So
Bob, do we give them time off to study and to prepare for these exams and to do and to take these courses?
Yes, we do. So they, for instance, the, even the, ordinary seaman to AV, we sent them to, class, what was it, a 2-week class, I think, for them. For that, for them to go through that and end up being certified to get their AV tickets. The pilot program, I think, was a 3-week program. Max told me yes, so, it was a 3-week program, and then on top of that, we provide them with additional time in terms of being able to and assistance in trying to study to be able to draw their charts and things like that. So and a lot of it is the sea time that they need to in order to progress from one level to another, the amount of days that they need to be on board the vessels in order to get that they qualify for their sea time. So it's a long process. It's a long process for as they move up, but thankfully, we do have people that are moving up, and I think Janice points out that we've only had at that point that she prepared this. I think there's only 3 retirements, but I'm aware of 3 of them that will be coming here in the next month or 2, and with the licensed deck officer group, I think over 20% of that roster is age 65 or above. So we need to continually be looking at our efforts to encourage our people to be moving up and getting on that roster and moving up to become captains.
Lastly, Bob, do we give them any incentive, like a bonus, once they get licensed?
The higher rate of pay as a captain versus or as a pilot. Those are the primary things. In the past, we didn't go to the expense of having, paying for their classwork, paying for their time to be doing this. This is something that since 2017 we started this program where we felt it was necessary for us to be having some skin in the game, so to speak, in terms of getting these people to be doing these classes. And then it's only been the last couple of years here that we have a formal, opportunity to set these people off to, for maritime learning, to be able to do it, as well. So, I mean, some of it is, we send people down to, Newport for high-speed bridge resource, management classes in order for, a deck officer to be qualified to operate the INL, for instance. It's a different animal than our other vessels. So, Mark and Marine Ops and Fleet Ops are all working on trying to make sure that we're constantly providing opportunities for these people.
Once we pay for all of this stuff, is there any commitment on them that they have a 3-year commitment that they have to stay with the Steamship Authority since we spent this money to train them?
There has not been. I will say that back in 2017, when we first started this program, we had 10 candidates that went through the program to become pilots. At the completion of that, one of the individuals that received this pilotage gave her a week's notice and left and went somewhere else. But I take it 9 out of 10. I'll take that every day of the week if we can get that. And the fact that this person went to work, actually the person wanted to go work deep sea for a while and has continued to make contact to say that at some point they would like to come back and work for us. So it might just be a short-term loss there. But I mean, some of these people that have gone through the program have been able to complete the program. So it's not, we're not batting 1,000 on this, but the fact that we do have people, willing to step up and do it. And again, the authority is, putting some skin in the game by, providing these opportunities for them under our value. So.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Joe. John, you all set? Mark and Gordon, and I think Rob is off the screen.
If I may, I think in light of this, as Mark pointed out, that we're gonna be extremely tight here in terms of staffing levels. Plans for the, at this point are to continue to, just double through the INO through this May through middle of June schedule, and then we're going to be evaluating it. We do have, you know, one of the issues we've been dealing with has been that we do have licensed deck offices that are down in Mobile right now with the conversion of the vessels, and so and, along with some unexpected medicals that we're extremely tight on tech offices right at the moment. So.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up, Bob. I forgot that. Mark, go ahead.
Yes, I just like to say that as we go through this staffing program and bringing in people, that we also keep in mind our goal to have a workforce that reflects the communities that we work for, and that we continue to emphasize the diversity of our workforce.
Yeah.
So Bob, just real quick on that, what you said, I mean, that's a key. I don't know if anyone realizes that that's like gigantic, and I forgot to mention it. And thank you for remembering to say it. With the people that are in Alabama, et cetera, and how this all shakes out. Keeping the INO on double crew, you know, as much as it pains me, and this is for you, John and Joe, okay, we'll take that hit over the slow boat being targeted as far as cutting. You cannot cut the triple crew slow boats. It's impossible. So if that's what we have to do again this year, then that's what we have to do. Highline's got the 8 p.m. So, you know, it works, as much as it pains me to have to say that, but that's the, you know, the pick that we have to take if that's what we have to do. Okay, so I just want you guys over there to know that this is like brutal over here. Okay, brutal with the stuff that happens right now. What's going on makes your problems look like nothing, just so you know. Thank you very much. Anyone else have anything?
No. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Next is the business summary, Bob.
Yep, so
Over,
Mark's
Mark.
ready.
Yeah.
Morning, and since we're running a little late, I'll be briefer than normal, if that's okay. Report council, since you have all this information already. All right, passengers carried for the month of March, both routes combined were up 6.3% or 8,500 passengers. Year to date, both routes combined are up 5% or just over 18,000 passengers. For passenger vehicle carried, and these are all one-way traffic statistics. Vineyard route was down 661 passengers at 2.1%, and Nantucket was down 1.7% or 601 vehicles. Both routes year to date are down just over 2,400 vehicles. As mentioned previously, downturn is primarily in the standard fare vehicles, and I apologize. There's I misspoke. The Nantucket route's only down 28 vehicles year to date. That's 2,400 combined for both routes. Freight trucks for the month of March were down 6.5% combined for both routes, or 516 vehicles. Year to date, we're down just under 2%. Cars parked, relating to the passenger ridership numbers were up on both routes for the month of 28.5%, 1,500 vehicles. And keep in mind, it's a small number. Year to date, we're up 26% of 3,700 vehicles. Trip summary year, so for the month for both routes combined, we had 18 trips canceled for mechanical, 69 for weather, 26 for traffic, and 18 for crewing. Year to date, we're down on mechanical cancellations, and we're up on the weather cancellations. Financial snapshot for the month of March, revenue of just under $6.8 million, was down $1.3 million compared to budget. Total expenses were down, we're up $766,000 versus budget at $12.2 million. For the month, we had a net operating loss of $5.5 million, which was worse than budget by about $2 million. But year to date, we're ahead of budget by $865,000. Operating revenues, the other income, that's the top, that down $1.2 million. That's timing of grant revenue of $1.3 million, which we're realizing in the next month or so. Additionally, you can see the automobile revenue down 8.6%, and that's direct correlation to the standard fare automobiles. Operating expenses, big standout here is the maintenance expense is up $958,000. But during last month's numbers, we were down $2.3 million compared to budget. As mentioned earlier, that's timing of when we're realizing the maintenance expenses on the vessels. As you can see, the maintenance expenses year to date are still under budget by about $1.3 million. For the first 3 weeks of April, for passengers carried, we're down 5.9% and just over 8,100 passengers. And total vehicles for the first 3 weeks of April are down just over 3,200 vehicles for both routes combined. And again, it's primarily the standard fare vehicles. With that, I'd happy to answer any questions on the March business summary. And all these are all this information is in your packet.
Thank you, Mark, very much. Is everyone all set? With that said, Mark, the 25 budget policy statement, is that?
Yep.
Whoever that is?
Yep, so I'll go over that real quickly right now. And in your packet, you have the draft of the budget policy statement as well as the calendar for the budget, the timelines, the goals, and who's responsible for each task. The budget policy is primarily the same framework that we've used previous years as far as methodology goes. And I'll just go over some of the highlights in the budget policy and the packet that you already have. We're going to bring this to a draft for the Port Council board at our September meetings, and we're looking for approval on a proposed budget in October. We'll be having again a public open house in September, the week of the board meetings. We have the board meeting in the third week of September. Revenues will be based as we have done in the past 12 months of actual traffic statistics. And if needed, we'll make any adjustments like we did during COVID, or if staffing levels we feel are going to be an issue, we'll adjust the traffic projections accordingly, as well as expenses. Operating expenses, we based on the approved 2025 operating schedule once that gets approved, because that'll determine the quantity of fuel, staffing levels, et cetera, et cetera. Maintenance repairs, we'll have 5 vessels scheduled for dry dock next year. We'll incorporate that into the budget, as well as working with the maintenance and operations teams about any repairs to the shoreside facilities. We talked about the employment. We're looking at getting to where the same budget levels as last year without any significant changes. Training, as we talked about earlier, we're going to continue with the 2-week-long training and development training we do twice a year. We're going to incorporate other trainings such as cybersecurity, oil spill response, things of that nature. Use of information systems, as Rob asked earlier this meeting, we're going to be working with Tom from Gibbs to incorporate what type of expenses we expect to see next year and the year after, and what type of capital expenses is going to be incurred. Do we have to have more cash flow generated to absorb those capital expenses? And are these reservation systems going to be capital expense? Is it going to be a pay-by-month software as a service? So terminating that in the budget, as well as what type of training expenses are going to be going with these IT developments, because you could have the greatest toys, but if no one knows how to use them, it's not going to do you much good. Vessel fuel oil, we use roughly 3.5 million gallons a year. Right now, we're about halfway hedged for 2025. And we're trending about 20 cents cheaper per gallon than last year for the first 6 months of the hedging. Debt administration, Next year, we have interest payment due in September of 1.6 million, and then we have a 12.4 million principal and interest payment due in 2026. And during the budget, we'll make sure we incorporate enough cash flow to make sure we hit the special purpose funds, make those payments. And then as always, once we put the expense side of the budget together, we'll try to do everything we can to minimize any fare adjustments that are needed. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the budget policy.
Anyone have anything? Rob's off. He would be commenting on this right now if he was on. But he's not. So.
And I am looking for approval on it. by the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mark, go ahead.
Yes, not related, excuse me, I got a cold, not related to the budget policy statement. Previously, you sent us the audit for last year. And
Yes.
my reading of it is that it was a clean audit, no major findings. There was a timing issue associated with it, and just want to commend financial staff for their hard work in putting that together. I know it's a lot of work, and it's always good to see a clean audit at the end of your year. So just want to make that mention.
Thank you. And with that one finding, we already made corrective action plans to take that off for folks in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you're looking for a motion, Mark, to approve or
Recommend to the board. for approval.
recommend? Yeah. So I'll accept a motion from someone to
So moved.
recommend the policy statement. Is there a
So moved.
second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, Joe Solito,
Aye.
Mr. Carr,
Aye.
Mr. Reese,
Aye.
Mr. Cahill,
Cahill, aye.
and the vice chair votes aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry about the brevity.
It's all
That's
good.
okay.
I'm already late for getting back to work, so what difference does it make now? All right, old and new business. I have something personally, but that's okay. Go ahead, Bob.
If I may, just a couple of quick things. So, as everyone's aware, we had an issue with the motor vessel Eagle the other day that we had to take it offline, and we will be taking her to a shipyard tomorrow. So, we had to move some boats around, and we're down some service on the Nantucket route as it is. So, just want to thank our customers and for their patience and understanding during this time period that we're working on. I think the Sankey is on its way to Nantucket now to be in position to start service on as scheduled service there tomorrow. So, but again, just it's been from the vessel crews and the terminal people. They've been it's been hard times right at the moment, and our appreciation for all their hard work as well. So,
Yeah, I completely concur with that. That was one of the things I was going to say, but just anyone else have anything before I ask a different kind of question?
One last thing, that are we going to be sending out new schedules for the starting on May 14th? There was a lot of talk this morning on Islanders Talk. The 12 o'clock boat, noon boat from Woods Hole would be arriving in Oak Bluffs at 12:45 a.m., which would mean it's probably about a 12-hour trip from Woods Hole to Oak Bluffs.
we want to save fuel. We're just going to let it drift. No, so we'll correct that. So,
Yeah, I was going to say there was a lot of comment on Islanders Talk this morning. Secondly, at some point, Bob, you or Mark, can you send me over a complete schedule, one that includes the freight boats?
yeah, we can get you the schedule. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I did have one more thing, if I may.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Bob. Sorry.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Carr and his staff for hosting the board at their monthly meeting this past month in New Bedford at their offices, and thank you very much. It was staff was very generous and helpful, and we appreciate that, so.
Great, I'm sorry, I was sorry to miss you. I was at a conference, but glad everything went well. Happy to do it.
Okay, and then one other thing, we do have the hearing scheduled for this afternoon at 3 o'clock regarding the proposed 2025 operating schedule via Zoom. It will provide the floor council and the board a link to that recording of this. So
Okay, you all set, Bob? Sorry.
that does it for me, I think.
Okay, so from me personally too, I just want to thank everyone. And I always say everyone because I don't know who, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. There's a lot that happens through the messaging between management and other people involved with all this to get this insane boat flip-flopping to happen the right way when something like this happens, which would happen to the Eagle, because it isn't just what happened to the Eagle that's caused the current status where we are right this second. So how we got the governor rebuilt in Maine back to Fairhaven, there's so many moving parts to this stuff. It's unbelievable. Okay, so with that said, I want to ask you guys something. It's all of you, all three Marks, Bob, whoever, everyone. Is there a possibility to create I don't know how we can do it, but sort of a National Guard type crew of retired crew members that can be implemented to bring the Eagle to Sinesco, bring boats up from the south, bring boats down to the south. Deadheading to Nantucket today, for example, to basically salvage one 26-mile trip that really turns into a 80-mile trip. It takes hours away from the crew members that are assigned to the vessel. I know that you guys think about these things, but it's never been said at a meeting, so I'm saying it right now. There are a lot of people that are retired that they're certainly not in a wheelchair. In the public sector, that's just how things end up. People retire in early ages, and they're still well capable and have their licenses and so forth, just like driving a truck. People driving a truck are old now, because they know how to drive. So I think that this is something we have to do something. We're using up time for people that are already doing the regular routes, whether it's the Vineyard or Nantucket, it doesn't matter. The shuffling stuff is not going to go away. That's always going to happen. Whether we switch boats for normal, we switch boats for an unforeseen circumstance, and there's just a lot to this, and I understand it, and that's why I never complain. I may roll my eyes a lot, but I know how hard it is. So that was my other business for today. Deafening silence. I'm scared now.
There's a lot on that question.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, we do have people who typically take the winter off and then come back and work for us for the seasonal. The issue in terms of some of these, some sort of supplemental crew or whatever, we need to make sure that they have recency on vessels and their licenses haven't lapsed, and they'd be part of drug testing and everything else that goes with their licenses. So
the days of calling Ed Jackson is a lot more complicated, right? That's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to collectively bargain the positions with the union, drug testing, random drug testing program. That they've got to keep up their Coast Guard medical, their Coast Guard documents. Yeah.
They have their pilotage for the whatever area they're sailing, they'll be operating in and things like that, so.
See, I mean, I just kind of look at this as, I understand all that, but it's like a truck. Like, I know how to drive an 18-speed, a 15-speed, a 13-speed, an 8-speed, and a 9-speed without having to think, even if I haven't driven in 10 years. I have my license. I just renewed my CDL hazmat this year. But a boat, I'm sure, is a lot harder and more complicated, like flying a plane. I get it, but I just wanted to throw this in there. There's got to be something that we can do to help prevent what's happening now, at least a little bit. So anyway, thank you all so much for everything you're doing.
Thanks, Matt.
Anyone else have anything before we adjourn? Oh, no, go to public comment. Sorry. Okay, Sean, you're up on the public comment stuff. I can't see it.
If anyone has public comment, please hit the raise your hand icon. Once, or twice. I don't see anybody.
No public comment.
So moved.
Oh, okay, wow. Motion to adjourn. Is that you, John?
Yes, it was, sir.
I'll second.
Okay. Second by
Second.
Joe. All those in favor, John Cahill,
Cahill, aye.
Joe Salito,
Aye.
Gordon Carr,
Aye.
Mike Reese,
Aye.
and the vice chair votes aye. Thank you all so much for everything you're doing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. See you soon.
Everyone.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Yep.